just going to get right to it, but I'd like to share some personal thoughts on World War II and most specifically Hitler and Nazi Germany. Some of the things they don't teach you in school is that when Hitler came to power in 1933, Germany was the equivalent of a third world country. They weren't allowed to have much of a military. They weren't allowed to have tanks. Inflation was out of control. They owed billions in war reparations. They basically were forced to take the blame for World War I because even though they didn't start it, they were the hardest to defeat. In 1938, Hitler was voted Time's Man of the Year. Why is that? Well, by the time 1938 rolled around, Hitler's Nazis had taken Germany from being a third world country to being one of the top, if not the top, superpower in the world. Made in Germany meant excellent quality. The economy was doing great. The military was one of the most powerful in the world. Concentration camps and all of that were around? Yeah. People leaving Germany in droves were bringing horror stories to the countries they went to of what the Nazis were really doing. Most people didn't believe them. They figured such claims were way too outlandish. And in 1938, there were not spy satellites. There were not high-level spy planes. If you wanted to know what was really going on, you had to get somebody on the ground in there to look around. They had things so tight that Hitler was voted Time's Man of the Year in 1938. 1939, he invaded Poland. 1945, the war ended. In the 12 years that the Nazis controlled Germany after Hitler was voted chancellor, because they pretty much controlled the Reichstag in 1932. If one gets to thinking about it, it says a lot. Hitler's military commanders had told him Germany was not ready for war. Hitler knew that Germany was more prepared for war than the democracies around him. They hadn't been preparing for war the way Germany had. He'd rather strike while he was in a greater sense of preparedness than the people he planned to strike against. So the bottom line on that is this. If Hitler hadn't have been bent on conquest and conflict, if he had been a man of peace, instead of a man bent on war and controlling the world, what would he have accomplished? What would Germany have accomplished in 20 years instead of 5 or 6? The Russians put the first satellite in space, Sputnik, in the 50s. The United States was first on the moon, 1969. Theoretically, both of those honors could go to Germany, especially when one looks at the fact that after the war was over, both Russia and the United States had their own programs that brought Nazi scientists into their countries, respective countries. The V-1 and V-2 rocket designer was brought to the United States and ended up working on the rockets that eventually put man on the moon. If Hitler had been a man of peace instead of a man of war, Germany's accomplishments would be through the roof. And they'd probably still be one of the greatest powers and most technologically advanced powers on the planet. Hindsight being 2020, I don't doubt at all that these truths would be evident first and foremost to the German people. I have no concern whatsoever about a Nazi-style regime re-rising in Germany. This is just some food for thought, some personal reflections that I decided to share. May the blessings of the world be upon you in Jesus' name. I love you, human fam.